Thank you so much, Ant and Lisa, for taking time out of your ridiculously busy schedule, engaged in this magnificent project, making this movie in Far North Queensland, to speak to me and viewers of Northern Vibe. It's so much appreciated.
Thanks for having us, Matt.
What she said.
I concur. Look, I interviewed Lisa on the 24th of January this year, and she gave myself and the viewers a teaser about a movie that's being made up here in Far North Queensland. How would you describe the premises of the film to anyone who hasn't seen the trailer, and we'll be putting that on, or Lisa's podcast?
As a director of the piece, the premise would be a young woman from a country town suffers a tragedy, and on the back of that, she finds herself in a multitude of different undesirable situations, and the story is about how she finds her way through that. Is she going to vanquish? Is she going to triumph? Or is she going to be sucked into this whirlpool, this craziness? That's the general premise. I accept it's not a polished elevator pitch, but that's basically it. The story's told with most definitely sharp dialogue, humor, and a touch of darkness, I would suggest.
Yeah. And we also know that jokes about coffee are very, very an important part of this movie due to someone's background. Hey, Lisa? We won't give away too much there, no spoilers. But,
yeah.
Right. So tell us, where are you up to with the project? How are things at the moment?
At the moment, we're in post-production.
Picture lock simply means that you've done the visual stage of the edit. For those of us that are not technicians, we're simply actors that think everything revolves around us on a set, which is how actors think, really, that we're the most important part of the project. When you become a director or producer, you understand we're all part of the same project. So the picture lock is the visual edit exclusively, but that doesn't mean to say that we've got a whole new edit, which is the audio from the boom mic. That in of itself is an entirely separate edit. And then you've got all the processes, the refinement processes, what we call the color grading, and then the rendering, and all of this other stuff. And then, of course, the musical composition as well. None of that's done. We simply have the visuals. That means we have 50 odd minutes of drama unfolding on a screen with, at this stage, not much in the way of audio that's from the actors and the ambience. But our editor, Dave, is working through that. And he has put in, we probably need to give him a shout out now, Dave's value to the project. And he wasn't necessarily doing this job when he started it. He's been the principal editor, and he's done all kinds of value added services because he's got the capacity to and the inclination. He's probably added 50 to 100 grand's worth of value to our project in terms of his services that he's offered. Quite unbelievable. We bit off more than we could chew with this project, certainly with the budget we had, but so many miracles have happened along the way that have allowed us to make it this far, that we just keep reaching again above and beyond our means, and it keeps happening. What we needed to happen happened like a miracle, one after another. Wow. It's quite extraordinary how that's all come about, Matt. I don't think it's divine intervention per se, but it's something that's beyond our control. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well,
yeah, what is it?
Yeah, what he said. Look, it's incredible though. I mean, that's how anyone develops. Really, they bite off more than they can chew, and just chew on through it. And really, the same principle applies to going to the gym. You lift something that's too heavy for you till it hurts your arms, and that's how you develop. That's how you become a better person. That's how you get better at doing what you've done. And you both. We'll cover that off a little bit later in the interview. And for those who've seen Lisa's interview will know that she's quite accomplished, and you're quite accomplished yourself. Again, a bit of a teaser. We'll be going through that a little bit later. So, I mean, with this process, if you don't mind me asking, are you going to be re-recording all the dialogue and stuff like that? And what about music and composers? They're going to be contributing to a musical score as well. Like, is all this stuff done separately and brought together, or is it done on the set?
There's one scene in particular we're going to have to get some ADR work in the studio to re-record because some of the sound was corrupted on the day.
So Dave has a studio, a fully equipped. He's an audio technician among rather a lot else. He's an out and out nerd. He won't mind me saying that. And I mean that in a respectful way. He's everything I'm not. So he has a recording studio. It's a 72 track analog recording studio. This thing is intense. He's got a full sound booth ready for ADR. The speakers, the monitors, the projector screen that we work off. It's the most ideal place you can do the job. We're so blessed. We get to work in this environment a lot with him. So what I'm trying to say is we could, as soon as we get the actors in, we don't have to go anywhere. They can do it in that room, done to the best possible standard you can. He's got the best equipment you can imagine. All of that he's not charging us for as such. He's just part of the service for Dave. Amazing stuff. So that's when she says studio, that's what she's referring to. We're in a professional facility. We're not in my spare room, you know, we're in a proper setup. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's not like a guy in his room on a computer doing a podcast through Zoom or anything. Pick an example entirely at random. See, a bit more to it than that. I'm kind of is what I'm hearing. But the other amazing thing is, like, it just goes to show this dearth of talent, ability, and equipment that we have up here. So, I mean, we've got, you know, you're not going to like me saying this, but we've got, you know, you two guys with your talent, ability, and drive. We've got, you know, this bloke and all the other people that have come on board. It's like, yeah, you go North Queensland. Well, I mean, how cool is that?
I'm going to extend on that a touch, Matt.
Please do.
So years ago, when Throwback first came out, I was invited to work with a bunch of people. It's actually Advanced Cairns, to try and get some direction for the film industry here, because things were beginning to move a little bit. It went a little bit quiet, unfortunately, but things have, as you know, taken a turn. And Curtis Pitt is on board, and Michael Healy, and you know, people, the necessary, and Warren Inch, the necessary people, all in the right direction. From our end, in the trenches end, we need a comprehensive database of actors. We need a comprehensive database of crew, people, you know, who live here. Often, many of them are in the woodwork. So we see this as a bigger picture. Not necessarily Lindy Lou. We're not pretentious enough to think it's going to make the difference. We know that's not the case. But giving the impetus and trying to bring the disparate individuals and the groups of people cohesively together, so that, okay, right, let's get a database of actors, which is what I'm working on, another project, by the way, and also the crew. Once we have that, because we have an incredible locations catalogue done by the council, it's really, really beautiful. It's a several hundred-page document. It's a digital document online. So we've got that. We just need the other components, and then someone down south can just look at one database and they can access everyone, and they can get a solution and come and shoot here. And that's what we want, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, you know, you think of the you think of the capacity that's going to bring up here with people being able, you know, bringing in the talent, bringing in the money, bringing the attention to North Queensland, which is what we all want. And again, it's kind of it's already here.
Yeah.
Like it's just a case of, you know, we don't really have to develop it, as you said. We just have to, like, get it all focused and get it so that someone can look it up and go, oh, I need a boom, and it's there. So look, on that, you're looking for composers / musicians to contribute to the musical score. Look, does that mean that I'm going to get an invite to the musician screening? Am I in with this?
It's very dependent on your chocolate selection. So make it the right chocolate selection, and then we might sneak you in.
And wine.
Chocolate and wine, Matt. You better get your 5 eyes out, buddy.
Oh, all right, yeah. So there's no graft and corruption, and it's everything. You know, everything's above board. But the producers are open to chocolate and wine. Noted. No problemo.
On that note, Matt, we had Rosie Pappalardo. So Ros is a musician in her own right, former teacher. She runs CPAC and a number of other venues, I think. She's now down in Brisbane, Powerhouse, doing an amazing show with Rachel Terry, another one of our associates, excellent director, teacher, and actor herself. More talent there. But Rosie she saw what we have done with a visual edit, and she absolutely loved it. She got it. She got Lindy Lou, she got Lisa, she got the right, she understood it implicitly. So she said to us, guys, this is what you need to do. I'm not going to do your music for you because I don't have the time, but what about this as an idea? So we're going to do a screening, and we want to call out, hey guys, if you've got work that you want an opportunity to insert, you know, your work to be seen, we'd like to invite you to our screening and maybe watch the movie and tell us which part of the movie you can contribute to. That's kind of where we're going with this. I don't think this model has been used, to my knowledge, anywhere. It's just another thing that's grown organically out of our process. We've already got maybe eight musicians and composers locked in, ready to go on that day. We're just putting the call out to other people that also might be interested. So we've got real interest.
Well, you know, there is a magnificent music scene up here. I've interviewed a couple of musos, and they all talk about the degree of talent, ability that lives up here in North Queensland. It's so cool. On that note, with getting some interest from people outside, I understand. I've been told by Little Bird that you recently showed the trailer to Screen Queensland, and they gave you some feedback. Are you in a position to disclose that?
Yeah, I could do that. I showed them some of it was a very, very raw trailer back in November, and they gave me some pointers, which I felt we filled the brief pretty well, considering none of us have done a trailer before. It's very specialist.
Trailers are very hard to edit as well.
We've had several goes. During that interview a couple of weeks ago, Screen Queensland said to me, Anthony, you probably don't realise just what specialist skills making trailers are. The director doesn't get a look in. They're specialist editors for trailers on big movies. The director doesn't have a say. It's pretty full on. We edited the trailer as a committee. There's 4 or 5 of us agreeing on shots and this and that. So when I showed Screen Queensland, they said, okay, there's some really good stuff here, but it's way too long. It needs to be cut by, you know, X amount of time, and it needs to be more dynamic, blah, 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 blah. So she gave us a bit of a roadmap. So from that, we feel now that, we're getting to where we need to do in terms of our quality. We've had something like 1,400 views on the trailer already. Not bad. Not bad.
1,000 on Instagram.
So I'm really, really pleased. We realise we're not going to build Rome in a day. It's a step-by-step thing. Incremental. I think I've done enough talking, Lisa. I'm going to move back a little bit. You get a little bit closer to the screen. Not push it forward.
Yeah, and actually, when you do chat, Lisa, I know you're good at projecting. I'll get you projecting your voice. So I could do all that. I got to say, I'm sure you've seen the interview with Lisa, but I put her on the spot and made her do the American accent. I was almost going to say at the beginning, I want this entire interview in Lisa's American accent, because people will like, I know, I'm not going to do it to you, but people will love it. It's like, you should have seen the responses we got on that. People are like, ah.
It's not a problem if you want me to do it, but you've got to figure out which part of the States you want me to go, okay? So if you want it standard, it's okay. Well, we got some friends who are from New York, so, we're going to go down that road. That's okay, too, I lived in Texas for some time back in 1998. I went there, and that was very strange. I don't like that very much.
McConaughey right there. Are you gonna let that go, Lise? Are you gonna let that go?
It's the Anthony show. Let him.
I'm done.
No, man, I was gonna. All right. Well, Lisa, I'll get you to start off, because really, I mean, the genesis of Lindy Lou was you, kind of, really. But so tell me why this project was so close to you. What was significant about it for you? I'll get you to answer, and then how you got Ant on board and all that, and then I'll get Ant to talk about why it's significant to him too. But yeah, Lise.
Basically, the project was just started out as me needing new material for my reel. So it was only meant to be like a 5-minute, 30-second, little piece. And then it became sort of a mini series, because I started writing it over in America. And then I got back over here and I went, nah. And it became a short film and a feature film now. So it just got bigger and bigger and bigger than anticipated.
Well, my overdraft, actually, on this movie.
Yeah, and I came back from LA. I didn't know anyone. I didn't really know that there was a filming crew or community up here. So I was a bit skeptical about how it could be made, if it could be made. And then I sort of reached out to one local filmmaker that kind of got me in contact with you.
Who's that?
Curtis.
Oh, okay.
And then the ball just kind of steamrolled from there. Anthony sort of helped cast it. Most of the people, I think, you casting, yeah. Then we had a table read, and yeah, we just kind of networked and branched out like that.
How did it feel getting all those green lights? Like that must have been so kind of cool. Like it comes from this genesis of the idea, and it's like, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Boom. Next thing you.
It wasn't instantly like that. It was
no, but I mean, how did it?
Like in hindsight, yeah, we did well with, as you're saying, how lucky we got and everything came together.
We got knocked back more times than I was in the wool shed last time I was in there. Seriously, like when I'm talking about knockbacks, I'm talking about for funding and trying to move the thing forward.
Surely that wouldn't be all that many times though, Ant. Surely.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad.
Chap with an English accent at the wool shed.
I don't know anyone that's been thrown out of the wool shed. I managed that achievement once.
Me too. So
pretty impressive, eh? How do you get thrown out?
Did you get frog stomped?
No. Oh, no. I was manhandled, but anyway, another story. But yeah, our funding. We were knocked back on 2 occasions, wasn't it?
Third time lucky.
Yeah.
And each funding takes another 6 months. So you have to, if you get knocked back, you wait another 6 months to reapply. So yeah, and then COVID happened. So all the funding was sort of frozen, and yeah, we were just on hold, and yeah.
And then when we eventually got our funding, Matt, we had the reverse of a silver lining. In other words, we had this amazing news, and then we had, maybe a fly in the ointment. I think that's what they call it. So it was fantastic. We were all guns blazing. This was December 2020. And then we let everybody know that day. It was like, yeah, party. And then we were told that our DOP had to sell his 30, 40 grand's worth of gear to make a movie because, poor bugger's in retirement. And so he doesn't have, he needs liquid, needs money, and he's lost a contract to film a particular job over a period of time. And I was like, well, hang on. What? He said, no, we can still get it back. It's in Townsville. Hang on a minute. Every bit of equipment that we're going to be shooting this movie with is in Townsville and it's staying there. Yeah, but I can go down and pick it up and bring it back. So we don't have any equipment to shoot this movie anymore. We had 35 days at least. It ended up being closer to 40 days on set. You do the math there, Matt. So it was, what are we going to do now? So talk about beg, borrow, and steal. It's exactly what we had to do. We had to put calls out, to pull in favors left, right, and center to make this thing happen. We used his trailer a number of times, but probably more than 3 or 4, because we couldn't afford to keep bringing it back up. And we're talking everything, dollies, jibs, everything that makes the film look cool, we needed. We didn't have. Norbert had the camera and the lenses, couple of lenses. Other than that, it was everybody else's gear. Over to Lisa.
Yeah.
Oh, the Apocalypse Now. I mean, the making of Apocalypse Now, by comparison, sounds simple.
After we just got the green light to make it.
But the film, the notion of challenges on a film, that's all you're doing as a producer, I think, and to some extent a director, is just trying to meet your challenges day in, day out, unforeseen problems, whether it's Ant Ring getting sick. I had diverticulitis one morning.
I had to become the director because he ended up in hospital.
Yeah, so I got pain. I turned up with a pain in my tummy. I know about this pain in the tummy. It ends up with me in hospital, nearly having surgery. And then within an hour, I was told, okay, get yourself to Mariba Hospital. I was then on morphine within hours and I was gone. So Lisa took over the shoot. That was one day.
Which is challenging in itself to be on camera and behind camera.
God, I couldn't rub my stomach and pat my head at the same time, let alone do something like that.
With skeleton crew.
We're talking of crew. Then there's the other challenge of turning up on set on the wrong day.
with all these people involved and the cost and these delays, which would have been sapping morale pretty seriously, I'm thinking, how did you keep everyone motivated? Like, how did that happen?
Our cooking.
Really?
I'm quite serious, actually. It was tongue in cheek.
We overfed everyone.
Yeah, we had feedback that people were prepared to give up their time a whole day. They're prepared to drive the 70, 80K round trip to Mariba and back and get up at 2 in the morning if necessary.
Oh no, it's only
3. Oh, that was that one shoot, 2 in the morning. And they're prepared to make concessions and all the rest of it. But if you feed them well, that's really good. And that was one of the key things.
What we had chili con carne.
Yeah, we had really good spag bowl, chili con carne. You did your chicken pesto, did with the carbonara,
The spicy veggies, yeah.
and I think that was one of the highlights actually. And that really did the morale, because there's a lot of talented people on our set. So meal times became a bit of a tradition of singing and carrying on, and it was a real nice time for everyone just to calm down for a bit, because we had a big crew, and often we had a fairly big cast as well.
And if there was like a birthday, we would have cake and sort of everyone wrote it on a card, and sort of, you know, you become like a close-knit community, like a family sort of. Yeah.
That is so cool. And Napoleon would be proud of you, because an army marches on its stomach, as he's famous for saying. But look, you know, again, that leads naturally into the next question. Like with filmmaking, there's always stories, isn't there? Stuff that happens behind the camera, and they're compelling as stories as the story itself. Come on, you got to give us some. You got to give us some love. Are there any funny stories that you can share with us? Remembering that it's PG. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that rules them all out then. No.
What about learning outside the children's play?
Well, besides Anthony ended up in hospital, there was the time he told half the crew one day, the other half, he has this thing with dates and days, cannot say the right day or date to say.
Even if I double check it, triple check it.
He'll say it wrong.
Yeah.
So half the crew turned up one morning at 6 a.m. I was still in bed because I thought it was the next day, which the other half of the crew thought as well. That resulted in a free breakfast.
So I was producer and director. So as producer, I create the call sheet, so the locations, the times, the characters, and also was catering for much of the shoot as well. So that's taking care of the logistics. As director, you take care of the creative choices on the set and the shots and and you liaise with the other crew members to do that. They're quite distinct roles, but dates have always been a problem for me. This is a true story. In 2002, my friend Zoe Teverson was getting married, and I rearranged my holiday with the boys to go down to Newquay, which was 6 or 7 of us, so I could go to her wedding it was sometime in August, Saturday in August. So I went to her wedding on this Saturday in August, knowing that in the afternoon I'd hop in the car with my buddies and head off to Newquay. So I turned up at Bromley Registry Office with a present, a card, and a big smile and a tuxedo. And gosh, she doesn't look so.
There's no one here.
She's not. This is the wrong day. I've turned up at the wedding to a wrong wedding. So I then made a few calls. She was on her honeymoon in the Maldives. She'd already been married the week before. 1 week earlier. Wrong. So I have the capacity to, you can see, massive problem for some.
Yeah, oh my God, that's just gold.
So that was one day.
That was one day. That was also we're filming down in the paddock, and we've got 2 horses, and some of the crew thought they'd use the horse feed buckets to put the props in and take them to down in the paddock. What they didn't realize was that they are what the horse food goes in there, like those little round rubber buckets with the handles.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden these horses are, you know, running up to them thinking they've got dinner.
Next thing they're mounting them. The boys are crapping themselves, being chased around the paddock by horses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gold.
But they're big horses. They was intimidating. And I kind of understood how they felt. They didn't chase me because I wasn't holding one, Matt. But one of our very first shoots was when Lisa's shooting that gun, as you can see, down in the paddock. very early start. And I sent everybody up back to the house because Norbert and I were going to shoot some footage of the cows in the field, but they were 500-600 meters away. So we had to trudge across a dank and damp field with the sticks, the expensive 15 grand's worth of camera, with a view to getting a shot of the herd of the cows, like looking up like that, you know. And Norbert said to me in his accent, "Oh, well, you know, how are you going to get them to look up?" And I was like, "Don't worry, I got this." So he set up, the herd of cows are in front of us, and he went, "Well, go on then." So I went like this. And I know it's impressive, right? And the cows give it this one. So you'll see that in the film. Hang on, there's more. So Norbert goes, "Oh, nice one. I'm going to have a go." So Norbert goes like this. Matt, he goes, "No." The cows look at each other. What's going on there? They don't like it. They don't like the Canadian bovine language he's speaking. So they come towards us. Norbert, they're coming. So we got 15 grand's worth of gear. I said, we're stuck in the mud. And now we've been charged by a herd of cows because he swore at them in Canadian. Yeah, there's a story right there.
A story. There's a movie, bro.
Yeah, it's really cute, Mr. Storm.
And not everyone sees.
So you might find that when you watch the movie in its entirety, there are a few liberties taken creatively with vocal dexterity. I'm going to put it like that, Matt. I'll leave the code breaking to your audience, but all is not what it seems. I'll put it like that. We had to do a few other animal impressions.
Okay. Well, moving right along.
You get the idea? Yeah.
Again, like there's so many jokes that come in my head about bark like a dog. It's like, okay. All right. So look, I'm just sorry. What would you like to see happen as a result, you know, of this project?
Up on, say, Netflix, like a streaming network. It reaches quite a few people. It's also got the potential to be a sort of mini series, like you know, 4 or 6 episode mini series. So it's a standalone film, but it's also a pilot. So it'd be cool if, you know, if it does get picked up, to be made into sort of something else again.
Cool.
Screen Queensland gave me some advice around this. Normally, when you have a project, you have a really clear vision to begin with. We've been quite fluid with ours because of the nature of it and the lack of funding. We've had to just improvise along the way. There's a process called creating a pitch deck, spelled pitch as in P-I-T-C-H and then D-E-C-K, deck. Yeah. And that is your sales pitch and your vision for the movie moving forward. But because things keep changing and shifting with the process, we don't know if it's going to be a 50-55 minutes or whether we're going to cut it down to 40 minutes and have it as a, so that the format is open to shifting. And so based on the final product and feedback from industry insiders, when we do the screening, we'll change it accordingly. But we've already started to look at other projects now with us in various roles because some elements of the team works really, really well together. And so that's what we're trying to capitalize on moving forward into other projects. Over to Lisa.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's Lindy Lou will not be the end. Perhaps just the first in a series around Lindy Lou, or indeed other stuff that other projects may evolve from this.
Yeah, we're working on a short film at the moment too, 8 minute. Yeah. Just again, local crew, local cast, and that'll hopefully be done by the end of this year in the local Understory Film Festival. So yeah, we've kind of got our team established and we all seem to know how we all work.
It's part, I mean, I hate to sound sort of wanky or sanctimonious or cliche, but there is a certain magic to the dynamic when you get it right on those really great days that you have. I've likened the experience when I've tried to articulate it, Because as an actor, you go there, you do your job, you leave, and then you watch the finished product, and you feel amazing when it's good. And then that's pretty much it. But this process has been, because you've been so much into it, it's like slowly climbing a mountain and having then a flying fox at the top, which you get on, and you get to enjoy the view over a number of days on the way down. So there's no massive drop off, and then you kind of go back and do it all over again the next week. So what it's done for the rest of my life has had this kind of overflow and positive effect, where so many things that I've needed to acquire or have in this role as a director and other things have given me confidence in other areas of my life, like teaching. So it's really filled my cup up, so to speak. And so that's been such almost like a spiritual experience, really, because it's been over a long period of time, Matt, and it's done my esteem a world of good and given me a platform now to move forward in other areas of my life and take on responsibility that I may have shunned away from before. Again, it's big stuff for me personally, my journey.
Well, kudos. And you know, kudos to you both for doing that. That doesn't sound cliche. That sounds exactly the way that things happen. You know, when you make something beautiful, and you're putting your full effort into it, and you see the fruition of it, it's like, and other people are going to see it as well. And there's clearly, because there's a lot of other people that are involved in this project now, so it's going to change things for a lot of other people. It's really going to. It's not a cliche. It's not hyperbole to say that this is going to change people's lives. So no, seriously, I reckon that's awesome. And you know, I don't like speaking for my viewers, but I can say with some degree of confidence that people are going to be cheering you on from the sidelines. That's really cool. But I think sorry?
Thank you.
No, you deserve it. Because everyone gets to a position in their lives where they kind of like, I'd really like to do this. You know, I'm going to. And they kind of point out that they're not the full person that they could or should be. But then to take that leap of faith, well, hopefully, you know, it's not a full leap of faith in as much as like one minimizes the risks involved as much as possible. It's like, you know, engaging in any activity. It's like, well, there's this variable. I can minimize the risk here by taking these activities. It's not manna from heaven. But taking, you know, betting on yourself and just doing it, it's so cool. And it goes to show that, you know, a girl who's really good with a firearm and a teacher from St. Andy's can, if you guys can get up and do it, genuinely, like whatever it is goal that people have out there, it's inspirational. Seriously, I know it sounds trite, but I believe that. I'm not kidding. And one of the reasons that Northern Vibe is doing okay is because I'm telling these stories of these wonderful people who live among us and who are living out their dreams and they're succeeding, or they're defeating incredible diseases. Like, you know, a couple of the ladies I've spoken to, oh my God, there's one, Sarah Sexton, that just shouldn't be here. She just shouldn't be here. And the magnificent Keely Johnson, who, again, she shouldn't be here, had a brain tumor and sings and could sing for Australia, incidentally. You know, she's mates with Lee Kernaghan and performs with him. So it's just like, I just love the idea that there's all these people in the community who are living in Brinsmead, who are living in Mareeba, who are living in these little places. It's not New York, and they're kicking butt. But the downside would be, this is taking over your lives, I'm thinking. So, Lisa, you want to start off with, has this taken over your life? And if so, how? And then I'll get Ant to comment.
But yeah, no, it helps that I really enjoy it. The process, I enjoy the work as well. It doesn't feel like a job. So it's, you know, it brings you joy. So it's not like going to a job that you hate 9 to 5 every day. You enjoy the work, you enjoy working with the people, getting involved, and the creativity side of things. And as Anthony said, you know, it's that, well, that flying fox. Yeah, that really nice, happy, high feeling you get at the end of the day, which is not drug induced. And Ant, your experience?
Well, type of personality that I am, I'm quite, how can I put this? Let's call it immersive. What I mean by, I have that aspect of my personality. It can be a little bit, last one at the party, that kind of thing. And so that means that it can be a little bit obsessive at times. But it's been a few years now, like it's been 2.5 years since I've actually read the script initially, but a year since we've been into, we were shooting, So, and it's been just a weekly thing, at least, or sometimes a 2 week, twice a week it's been. But it's also, just as Lisa said, it's definitely been a bringer of joy in many respects. And when you're learning as well on the job, you're learning from lots of different people, and you come away with that experience, and then you can assimilate overnight or whenever it is, and then you come to the next shoot with that extra bit of knowledge, and that's really, really empowering as well. So not only have we worked together on the shoot, but we've learned from each other along the way and learned how to manage relationships as well. And we've learned about the craft of filmmaking a little bit more from those other people, and that's where the joy is as well.